Stampers, this is Dena from pocketfulofstamps.com. Thank you so much for joining me today. What I want to share with you is how I made this pretty card. I'm going to show you how I did the wash here in the background and some embossing. The stamp set that I'm using is one called Label Me Pretty. It's got several really nice label pieces in it, but you can obviously use it for other things as well. This set is available in wood or clear mount, and it's a really great set. I'm going to show you at the end of this video. I'll show you a couple other projects that I did using it, so you'll have some other ideas. The first thing I want to show you is how I did that wash in the background. So I'm starting with a piece of watercolor paper. And before I get started with this, what you want to do is you want to press on the lid of your pads against the pad like this, so that you get ink on the lid when you open it up. And this becomes your paint palette. So what I want to do is take my aqua painter, and I want to make sure this is clean. Yep, it's a good thing I did this. Make sure this is clean. I'm going to squeeze a little bit of ink into my lid, or a little bit of water, sorry, and then I'm just going to brush it on my paper to create the wash. I'll do about halfway there. Do the same thing with my paper towel to clean it off, and then I'm going to move to Bermuda Bay. This was Mango Melody, by the way, and wash the other half. And then just kind of run down the center here to blend those colors a little bit. And clean it off again. Once that paper is really good and dry, you're going to do your embossing. And to do that, I'm going to take my Versamark pad and ink this up. And a Versamark is a clear ink, but it's really sticky, wet ink, so it's perfect for embossing. But I've inked up my image. I'm going to stamp that on my paper, and you do, like I said, want to make sure your paper is really good and dry, because your embossing powder will stick to the paper if it's wet, but if it's dry, it'll only stick to that embossing powder. I'll take my embossing powder and pour it on top of the image. Like that. And then what I'm going to do is heat that embossing powder until it melts, and it's going to give me a nice shiny raised image. So this might get a little loud here, but hang on with me for just a second. You know your image is completely embossed when you look at it, and you don't see anything that looks gritty anymore. It all looks real slick and shiny. You also want to be careful not to overheat it, because you can melt it a little bit too much and it kind of soaks into the paper instead of staying on the surface of the paper. Now that my image is embossed, I'm going to punch it out, and I'm using the Pretty Label Punch, which, by the way, coordinates with the Pretty Me Label stamp set that we're using. What I want to do is unlock my punch. I'm going to take my image, slide it in, and line it up where I want it to be. And then I like to just very carefully press so that my paper is held in place. And then I can flip it over and punch, and I've got a perfectly lined up image like that. Now that I've got my piece cut out, I want to add some lace and some metallic thread to the back. So I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on the back, and I already had a little bit on here, but I'm going to add a little bit more. And I'm just going to fold my ribbon in half and lay it down, lay it down on top of that adhesive. And also add just a little bit more adhesive over that, just to hold it in place. And then I'm going to go with the metallic thread. And the way I like to do this is I'll get a length. I'm going to wrap it around my fingers. You can do a lot or a little. Clip that off. And then I kind of like to give this a little twist. Just kind of helps it hold it in place a little bit more for me. And it doesn't matter what the back looks like. Nobody's going to see the back. You're just going to see the front. So you can kind of work with that a little bit, get it where you want it to be. Just make sure it's good and stuck down to that paper, so it's going to look like that. And pull this a little bit to even it out, so it looks like that. Then I also wanted to add a couple of the leaf punch vellum cutouts, so I'm going to just take my leaf punch out a couple of these, and do the same thing. Just put a little bit of adhesive here and stick this down. And a little bit on this side and stick it down. So now I've got my focal piece done. Whoops, I lost a leaf. This will all stick when it's all on there. So I've got my focal piece done. Now I'm going to put my card all together. I've got a piece of the Wood Textures DSP, and I've got a piece of Mango Melody and a piece of Bermuda Bay cardstock. I'm going to start with this piece, and I want to adhere this with a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals, so it's going to have a little bit of lift to it. So I'll stick a couple of these on here. And it's always my theory that more is better, so I'm going to stick 4 of them on here. And peel off the back. And then this will get layered onto my Wood Textures DSP. I'll put some adhesive on the back. And layer this onto the Mango Melody. And then layer this onto my card front. Just like that. And then the last thing I want to add is just a few of our little metallic pearls. These come in a little set, and they've got both gold and silver. So you can just place a few of these where you want them. I love that these are self-adhesive, so you don't have to worry about adding adhesive when you're using them. And there's my finished card. And like I said, I have a couple other samples I can show you using that stamp set. This is the first one, and this is very simple. I just stamped one of the images in the background, stamped this image onto the Fresh Fig cardstock, and then again used the Pretty Label punch to punch it out, and then stamped this one on a piece of vanilla and punched it out with a circle punch. So it's just a matter of layers. Add a little bit of Wink of Stella in the background. Really pretty, really simple card. This is another fun way to use this set. On this one, I used one of the tea tins that we have in the catalog. These come in a set of 4. They're a great, perfect little size for putting treats in or gift cards. For this one, I used a piece of Share What You Love Designer Series paper and wrapped it around the outside, and then used a coordinating piece with the stamp set to make a little tag. You could put a few little treats from your kitchen in this with a gift card. It'd be a really cute little gift to say hi to a neighbor. So there you go. I hope you found this video to be interesting and you learned something new. Thanks again for joining me for this Card Quickie video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to my blog at pocketfulofstamps.com. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Facebook. Until next time, happy stamping!